Grace and peace be with all of you. There's a lot of judgment in these readings today, and I think that can get in our way. It makes us nervous, and it makes it difficult for us to hear something usable. In that first half of the gospel reading, those people who Pilate mixed their blood with the sacrifices and the other ones, the building fell on them. There is no known history of those events. So it must have been some contemporary happening that was not recorded, or if it was, it's been lost to posterity. So I can't really say anything about that other than still to this day, there are people who claim that sufferings that people suffer are their own fault or because they were bad people, and Jesus says, no, that's not true. So that's comforting. So what I'd like to do is pay attention to the parable about the fig tree. And parables are lovely things. You can interpret them in all different ways and turn the figures in the parable into different characters depending on your own interpretation. I think as Westerners and in the industrialized world, we think of the fig tree as an individual, right? Like maybe us. We need to bear fruit as an individual or we're going to be pulled out of the garden. But more typically in the ancient world, the fig tree was a symbol of the community, the people of God, the people of Israel, not an individual. So if we were to take that approach to this parable and say maybe that fig tree would be this community and the landowner would be God, that would make me the gardener, and if you keep following, my sermons would be the manure. So let me tell you a little bit about fig trees, because this would have been obvious to Jesus' listeners. It was an agricultural society. They were all farmers and barely eking out enough from the land to feed themselves, which is why there's so much talk about food in the Bible. So fig trees can not give fruit for a variety of reasons. Sometimes it has to do with the level of nitrogen, that would be the manure. Sometimes it has to do with the watering, it's not getting enough or too much. But the most common reason a fig tree does not produce fruit is age. And I think this leads us directly into our worst fears about our own community here at Good Shepherd and about church generally. We are a lot of gray heads in this room. And churches, by and large, that is true. There are young churches with rock bands, and helicopters dropping the eggs for the Easter egg hunt, that kind of thing. But by and large, churches in this country are for the older generation, the later generation. And I think that is our fear, that we are too old to bear fruit. And some of us may be entering that stage of life where we're, retiring or becoming less physically able and worrying about that for ourselves as individuals. And we come to church, and in our heart of hearts, we worry about it here. But here's the thing. When a fig tree does not bear fruit because of its age, it's not because the tree is too old. It's because the tree is too young. So the fig tree is unpredictable. No one can predict when a specific fig tree will reach maturity and begin bearing fruit. There's a usual range, but no one knows for sure. Each fig tree takes its own time to gather up its strength and its resources, and then to have its calling in life unfold in fruitfulness. I have been at the Church of Good Shepherd for a year and 3 or 4 months, something like that. And this is the parable that has come to me in prayer from my very beginning weeks here. I'm going to be bold and say, I think this is your parable. This is a church of deep roots, real resources, faithful hearts, and lived experience, which one might even dare to call wisdom about life. And so I think the choice now belongs to you as the fig tree. Is it time to bear fruit, to draw on all those resources and dig into that maturity and declare that this is, in fact, your purpose, to no longer be growing leaves and strength for yourself, but to reach out and produce fruit for others, for those outside the community. It's not, I think, so much a question of judgment, although I certainly don't want to say that that's not in the reading. But I do want to say what the fig tree decides is a matter of consequence. There are many decisions in life that are consequential. And I think who Church of the Good Shepherd chooses to be, who you decide you are in this later stage of your life, is consequential, not just for the community, but also for the city of Norfolk, and maybe even for the world. And it is a decision that matters to God. So I want to leave you with a quote from someone named Joan Chittister. I don't know, has anyone heard of Joan Chittister? One or two people. So she's a prolific writer and theologian and speaker. And she's written a lovely book about growing older. It's called The Gift of Years. And I recommend that to you if you're interested. And here is something that she said. Each period of life has its own purpose. This later one gives us the time to assimilate all the others. The task of this period of life is not simply to endure the coming of the end of time. It is to come alive in ways that we have never been alive before. Amen.